So you've probably seen videos like this, or like this, or like this, and the accounts that produce these videos growing faster than bamboo. They have hundreds of thousands of followers that are constantly watching these videos, and these videos are getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. So this is something that actually my school community has wanted me to build for them for a while, and I finally decided to do it. But before I built my own system, I actually went to do a little bit of research to see what other people are creating, because in my head I wanted to build a system that is very robust and that does everything, not just creating of these videos, but also posting them and scheduling them before posting them. And I also wanted to be able to give some feedback to my system. So in my research, I found that there are a few things missing from most of the workflows that I have seen so far. And some of them are, number one is human in the loop, as I mentioned before, because what if you spend the money and the time to create a video, but because you didn't see the prompts your system is using, and you have crappy prompts for both the image or the animation, and now you have a crappy video that is not getting any views. So I wanted to have human in the loop. I wanted my system to send me an email going, these are the prompts, let me know if you like them or not. The next thing that I didn't see a lot of these systems have is handling of errors, because it doesn't matter what image generator or what animation or animation generator you're using, there's always going to be some sort of an error. Sometimes the image or the video will fail to generate. Sometimes it will take so long that it will result in an error in the actual generator. So what is happening with your system when this happens? And I did not see this in any of the workflows that I've seen. So I actually spent 2 days trying to work out how to do it. And it will seem very simple when I show you, but it took me a while to understand why I couldn't do it the way I wanted to do it. And the third thing is a lot of these systems will create the videos, but then you have to grab them from your storage, which could be Google Drive or OneDrive or whatever that storage is, and manually post it into to TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, which of course defeats the purpose, because why would you want to have a system that creates all the videos, but then you have to manually post them? And actually the fourth thing was, and I saw only one person that is doing this, is the background music. Most workflows that you see will have a background music done by 11 Labs after the video is created. But once again, just like with the prompt, what if you don't like that music? What if the music is crappy? Now, just because of the music, your videos are not being watched. So I thought, why not build my own music library and use music that I actually like? Okay, rant over. Now, before we start opening and before I show you everything, if you want to build it yourself, you have 3 options. Number one is follow along with this video and just build it yourself. The second one is you can grab it very quickly for just $19 from Gumroad, and you'll get this whole thing set up and a Google Doc with it. Or you can come to my school community and actually get not only this template, but all my n8n templates, make templates, custom GPT templates, and everything in between that I'm doing, plus how to actually monetize AI. And another thing that we need to do before we start opening is to set up our assets. As I mentioned, the very first thing is we want to build some sort of a music library. And you can have, anything from, 3, 4, 5 music files to hundreds of files. And the best generator I have found is Suna. And what I've done is I went to Claude. I was playing with dragons. So I went to Claude and I said, I'm creating a new TikTok channel based on dragons. Can you please come up with 20 song or music ideas I can use with my music generator that will complement the style of my videos? And it just gave me 20 ideas. So then I went to Suno and I literally copied and pasted each one of those into Suno. Here's the last one, cinematic trailer music with crescendos and dramatic pauses, which it created. And as you can see, the music is always different duration. So all you need to do is edit the music and just, I'll show you in a second, as soon as it loads, and just crop it to whatever length you want your videos, to whatever length you want, because you will have to decide before you start generating your videos how long you want them to be. A lot of videos are a minute or longer, but that will take a lot of time and it will also take a lot more money to produce any of these videos. I would suggest, and you can take my advice or leave it, I would suggest that you start with 20 to 30 second videos, which will be anything between 4 and 6 images that will be made into animations that will be then assembled into a video. So the one I have been playing with is 20-second videos. Where is it? Oh, here we are. So I'll literally go and be like, okay, I want 20 seconds. Here you go, 20 seconds. And if I can't do it with the slider, I'll just go in here and manually add 20 seconds. And then I'll just click on crop and that will crop it. It only takes a minute or so to crop it. Not even a minute. But yeah, so it's cropped. And now when I go back to my library, I will see my video, my music that is only 20 seconds. And I can download it from here as an MP3 audio. And then all I do is I go to Google Drive and I have my 20-second music library and I will upload my music in here. Then the next asset that we need is our database. And for that, we're going to use Airtable and we'll have 2 tables. One will be for the topic, the final video URL. So after the system creates the video, it will upload it into Google Drive and drop the URL here. The date to post. So my system is set up, I think at the moment is set up to post 3 hours after the video is produced. And the status, which, sorry, let me open it and show you, which is very simple already, scheduled and posted. And the second one is the music library. I have just an automatic counter here. Then I'm putting the name from Suno. I'll put the name. So I'll be Shadows of Tomorrow, for example. Then I'm going to use the description from Claude and I'm going to put it as a description. And then I'm going to grab the URL from my Google Drive. The reason I want this description is because I'm asking my system to look through all the songs and decide on which one to use. So my logic goes, if it looks at every description, it will be better to associate the topic that I'm doing with a specific music. For example, if I'm doing, as I said, I was playing with dragons. If I do ancient Asian dragons, and if there's music where the description is anything about Asian, it will pick that music. So this is my train of thought. All right, once we have all that set up, we can start setting up our system. And the first thing is to put it on a schedule. And the schedule can be every day, it can be every few hours, depending on how many videos you want to upload every day. That's entirely up to you. Then we are going to grab an agent, which is here, and we're going to connect it to an LLM. I use OpenAI predominantly. If you want to use any of the others, you can. And I have a couple of messages. The first one is the system message, where it says you're a helpful research assistant. And I say your task is to generate unique topics for short form videos. And then I've given it a few examples, because I found if I don't give it examples, it is not really giving me good topics. And then I say generate one topic based on dragons. Then the LLM will process it. And then we have our structured output parser. And that's because I have it in here just in case you want to produce more than one video at a time. So if I say, for example, create 2 topics or 5 topics, then you will need somehow to separate them. If you're just using one topic, so this is very optional. If you're using only one topic, you probably won't need that. The next node that we are using is the Airtable node, because we want to actually put that topic into Airtable in here, and we want to change the status to ready. So let's go back. As you can see, the status is now ready. From here on, we are going to split our path. The first path up here is going to go into the music library, so into here, and it will look at all the music files. So we're literally just searching through. And then we're going to add another agent that's that is the basic LLM chain, because we don't need anything more than that. We don't need anything specific, because what we're going to do is we are saying, hey, your task is to match the background music that matches perfectly to the topic of the video. And then in here, I'm just mapping out the topic from the previous node. So our agent just came up with, say, dragons holding eggs, and this is going to be the topic. Again, we have a structured output parser, and I want to get the music, the ID of the music, the description of that music, and the URL of that music. And then we're going to use a set node, and we're going to get this out as a string. Basically, I just want them separated. So I know that you can get them separated from the parser, but I always like to use these set nodes so everything is really, really clear, because it's much easier to map out stuff when you have the set nodes. And then we actually, something that I didn't know the last time I was doing something with Google Drive is, in order to have a third-party application access something in your Google Drive, you actually have to share that file. So that node is Google Drive and share a file. And basically, you will need to allow file discovery. That's all. And that pathway is now going into a merge node that will be sitting and waiting for all the other generations to happen before we continue with the final video. Our second pathway starts with, let me get this a bit bigger, starts with creating those scenes and those prompts. So basically, we have another agent here. And what I've said is, you're a creative short video content producer. Your task is to create storyboards inspired by dragons. So whatever the theme of your video, of your channel is, just put it in there. As I said, I like dragons. I was playing with dragons. And the main goal is to create visually dynamic and mesmerizing stories. And I have write concise yet vivid image prompts that captures each scenes. The subject must have very detailed description. Add something that you should probably do. And I've been playing with different styles. I just left this one here for the tutorial purpose. Add to each prompt in the style of digital art. Because sometimes what I've noticed is, if you don't give it a specific style, it will produce videos, animations that are in different styles. Actually, no, it will generate images that are in different styles. And then when you stitch them together, it kind of feels a little bit of like a mismatch. So definitely put in the style of. So it could be in the style of comic strips, in the style of 3D animals, or it could be in the style of anime, whatever that style is. And then on top, the user message is just to create a storyboard of, and in here you'll put the scenes. So this will be for a 20-second video, you'll need 4 images. So I have created 4 scenes on the topic of, and again, I'm grabbing the topic from the first part where we decided on the topic. Then we are having another output parser. And because I want to separate my image prompt from my animation prompts. And again, we have the set field that will separate those outputs. Then here's where we want our human in the loop. I want this agent to send me a message saying, hey, review these prompts and let me know if you need anything changed or if you're happy with them. And what I did is I literally went through the edit field and mapped out each of my scenes. Something to be aware of, the scenes don't start from 1, the scenes start from 0. Not sure why, but that's how the LLM is creating them. And then once I receive the email, and I'm going to show you what these emails look like. So here's the email. As you can see, everything is separated. This is my image prompt, and this is my animation prompt. And then in here, it tells me respond. Now, if I click it, it will tell me that I've already responded. As you can see, I've already responded. But once I say it's good to go, if I say, no, I don't like it, if I say, hey, can you change the prompt for scene 1 to do this, it will come back. So we have this text classifier that has 2 categories. Which one is continue, the other one is revise. And I only say you can play with these prompts here. This works for me pretty well. The feedback indicates that the user response actually indicates that they approve. And the other one is the user response indicate that changes or revisions are needed. So if that happens, we are going to go back, use another agent. The prompt for the user is, I'm just giving it the email, the last email I'm mapping out, and the feedback from the user. And if that happens, it will go back to the last iteration and it will just go through this loop until you say you're good to go. Once you're good to go, we are going to separate the animation prompt and the image prompt with the set field. And then we're going to split them out. And the next thing we want to do is, instead of sending all the images at the same time to the image generator and the video generator, we want to send them one at a time. Something of notice, if you send them off one at a time, you have a much higher chance for every single image and every single animation to be generated rather than getting errors because you're overloading your server. So we start, like, if you look at these 3 sections, so this first section in the red is the image generator, the one in the blue is the animation generator, and the one in the purple is the final assembly of the full video. And you will probably see that they all kind of look the same, at least these 2 are exactly the same, except in this one we're creating an image and in this one we are animating the images. However, we're using different tools. So the first one with the image generator, we are using this tool here, PI API. And for the image generator, we're using Flux. Okay. Flux is, as you can see, GC here, I had something failed. So I would need something in my system, in my video system, to handle errors like this. But PI API is really, really easy to set up. All you need is to grab your API keys. You need to create a subscription, and then you can grab your API's key from here. And if you want to, like if you get the template from me, either from Gumroad or from school, you will have everything set up for you. But otherwise, you will you'll just click on Run API, and that actually gives you the codes to use. So you'll have to go through that and use it this way. But other than that, if we go to the playground, sorry, no, where is it? Task history, sorry. Yeah, in here you will see it will cost you 0.015 cents to create one image. So if you go back, we will add an HTTP node. And how we set up, like we can set up the, let me just show you how they suggest you do it. So if we go to the Run API, it will tell you to put headers, and the header will be X API key, and then you will put your API key in there. But what's easier, because you can reuse it for other workflows, is, sorry, that was the wrong tab, is to actually set up the URL, which is the same for every single tool that you use with a PI API, which is api.piapi.ai/API/v1/task. And then instead of having headers in every node and having to put your API in every node, all you need to do is in authentication, you can choose generic credential type. Then under generic authorization type, you'll put head auth. And in the head auth, you will just create a new credential and you will put your credentials here. And once you save that, make sure that you name it as PI API. And once you do that, then you just need to create, as you can see, I've created these header authorizations for a lot of the tools that use HTTP nodes. So that way my API is already set in my credentials and I don't have to add it every time I need to use any of these tools. Then you need to send the body, which will be a JSON. And as I said, this JSON is from here. This is the JSON that I'm sending, and I'm choosing, actually I tried with a larger width and height and it wasn't working. So these are the measurements that are working for me. So 576 by 1024. Then we're going to add a wait node because it takes a little while. I've set mine up really high at 1 minute, just in case, but you can test and see how long it takes you to create an image, and you can set up your wait node for that duration. Then we have another HTTP node. You can actually just copy and paste this one, just duplicate it. But in here, the only different, actually no, we do not send the body here. We have the same authentication. So you've just, if you've copied and pasted it, if you've duplicated it, just uncheck send body. And then the only thing you need to change in here is to map out your task ID, which will come through from this first node. And once it goes through here, so we've started generating, it's waiting, we've grabbed the task ID, but then how do we know that this image is actually being generated? So I added an if node that is actually looking for, like I mapped out the output and I said this output needs to contain a .png. So if there's no URL, like if the output doesn't have anything, it's going to error. If it has something but doesn't have .png at the end, it's going to error. So if it errors, you will see that we are going through this is where I was going to start working with errors. If there's no .png, we're going to go into a node mode, code node, and we have this little code here that tells the system to start counting. And I've set it up as 10 counts. I want my system to try 10 times before it gives up. I did not come up with this code. I just went to Claude and it gave it to me. And if you grab the template from me, this code will be in there. And then I want it to loop 10 times. So every time it loops, it will count as 1, 2, 3. And every time it loops, it will go to another if node. And this if node will look in here, and it will look for the latest, for the last attempt. So this is what we're looking from the code node. And if the last attempt is true, we're going to abort. So literally stopping this automation and erroring it. If it goes through and says the second time or the third time, and we haven't received that PNG file, it will go back to wait. So it's just going to do this loop 10 times. And if all is good on one of those times, it will continue the automation and it will go into the video production. Now the the animation production. And as you can see, the animation production is exactly the same with the exception of this set node that will open in a second. But this one is exactly the same. As you can see, I'm using the same header authorization for AI API. In here, I'm using video models. I'm using Kling. And Kling, if you go into the run API, it also gives you the exact code that you can use. This tool is actually really good and easy. It gives you how to create the task. You creating a post HTTP module with the same URL as the images. The only thing that we need to add as a parameter, we need to add the content type and the application JSON. And then we're going to send another JSON file as the body, which is, I'm mapping in here, as you can see in the input. Let me just open it a little bit. In the input, I'm mapping out my image output. I'm mapping the prompt, the animation prompt in here, and the image URL that I grabbed from the image generation. And then, as I said, it goes through the exact same process as the image. It waits, it grabs the task ID. In here, actually, we are looking for MP4, .mp4. In the previous one, we were looking for .png. Now we're looking for .mp4 in the output. If it doesn't have it, again, it's going through the loops 10 times. If nothing is produced, it errors out. If we get our .mp4 file, then all we do is we're going to grab this URL and separate it. And once we have that, and so this is going to go 4 times through this loop. Because I have 4 images that need to be generated and animated. So it's going to go 4 times through here. And then once it's done, see when it's done, as you can see, when it's done, now we're going back into an aggregate node and we're going to aggregate all items into a single list. And the output field is scenes. Once we do that, we're going into the merge where we're merging with our music file. And then we are going to use JSON to video, which is this tool here. You grab your API key. You also can either buy credits or buy a subscription. And they're very, very generous with their credits. As you can see, I have 260 minutes still. Then you will need to create your own template. All you need to do is add a new template. And I'm going to open the 20-second template that I've made. Make sure that you first name it. So if you have lots and lots of templates, you know what they are. And then in here in the comments, make sure that you also have a name. Otherwise, the default is empty movie, because we need that for the code. And then in the resolution, we are picking Instagram story. And then all we do is we're creating a scene. We're going to give it 5-second duration. And then we'll add a video to each scene. I haven't done anything with these videos. Some things that you can try is to create a transition and choose your own style. I haven't done that. I haven't played with it. And then as you can see, for 20-second video, I need 4 images. So I have 4 scenes. Literally what I did is I clicked on a scene. And then when you click on this plus sign, it will duplicate everything. And I'll just change the name to scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4. Then more elements. In here, you will add your audio. See, it says add new elements. And you'll add your audio. So as you can see, you can add video, images, text, components, audiograms, voice, audio, HTML, subtitles. So there's lots and lots of things. And the last thing, this is very, very optional. You can add a watermark. I've been playing with different watermarks. And I think that it's a good idea to add your own watermark because these videos get stolen a lot. And that's about it. Then if you click on movie template and then on JSON, it will give you the general JSON that you should be using in here, with the only difference that we are doing is in the elements. So if we go to elements, let's have a look at this one. And I'm going to show you what's happening in here. So if you look at, where are they? Elements. So this is what we're looking at, scenes and elements. This is what we're looking at. So we have this code in the JSON file from JSON to video, but in this JSON file, there's nothing that tells JSON to video where to get the video file from. So what we have in my code is we've changed just that. We've got the type is video, and then we have to search, and then we're mapping out every single URL from the previous node, from the merge. And sorry. So as you can see, it's a little bit changed. I'm not using the IDs. So I've removed the IDs. I've got the elements, but in elements, in here instead of ID, so I have the type, but instead I don't have the ID. So in here, I cannot actually type anything in here. Like I'm typing on my computer and nothing is coming up. So you can only do it outside of JSON to video. So I've removed this. I've removed this, and I have added this search bit to my own code. And that's it. That's all I've done. And then at the end, you have to make sure that you have the rest of the elements. I thought that I don't need them because they're already set in JSON to video. But if I don't have all the elements, it actually errors out. So you have to have everything in here. And the width that we're selecting here is the proper width. It doesn't matter that our images were 576 by 1024. In here, we're having the proper Instagram width, which is 1080 by 1920, which is, of course, right here. It's already set up. So we're not doing anything else. That's the only change that we're making to this code. Again, we're waiting. And in here, we're going to get the video, you need to do question mark project equals, and then you'll map out that project ID from the first HTTP node. And again, what we're doing is we have the if node. Does it include MP4? If it does, we continue. If it doesn't, again, we're going through this loop 10 times. If it does, then the next HTTP node that we need is to get the binary file, because at the moment we just have a URL. And with a URL, I cannot upload it to Google Drive. So all I have is the movie URL from here. So this node will give me a URL in the output, and I'm going to map it out into this get binary file HTTP module, and I'm not doing anything else. I just, in response, I want to make sure that it's file and data. Once I have this binary file, now I can actually upload it into Google, and I can upload it where I've been uploading them, I think here. Yeah, as you can see, we have some chubby little dragons, fairy village. So you upload it into your Google Drive. And the last thing we're doing is we are grabbing the Google Drive, the URL from the Google Drive. We're going to paste it into our Airtable so we can have that URL. And then we are going to, now this is something that, again, Claude helped me with. This is the little code that will allow the Airtable to schedule. So as you can see, I have two curly brackets, then $now dot plus, then a bracket, then a curly bracket, hours, colon, and then 3. Now, if I put here 4 or 5 or 6, it will just count so many hours after after it's been uploaded into Airtable. So as you can see how the date is coming out. And then I'm going to set the status to scheduled. And this is it with this first part. Okay, now let's go to our posting section, which is separate from the main workflow. It has its own trigger. So this trigger for me is set up every 4 hours. I've been playing around because you want your trigger to be no more than an hour after your schedules. So if you have a video produced every 3 hours, if it's scheduled every 3 hours, you should set your trigger between say 3 hours 15 and 4 hours each time. So it will go and check and make sure that it's grabbing the last one. You don't want it to grab 10 at a time if it's checking like once a day and you're producing several videos. And what it does is when the trigger is fired up, it goes and check the records in Airtable. It's looking for the date to post field, and it is looking at whatever is set up before the time is checked. So, for example, if it's checking at 10 o'clock in the morning and your schedule says, oh, this is scheduled to post at 9 or at 9:15 or at 9:30, it will look for this record. This is the record it's going to grab. And with our if code, we're looking at now. So as I said, anything from now and before are the records that it will grab. That's why I'm saying if you should be checking more often so it doesn't grab like 10 records at the same time. Then in our next Airtable field, we're going to get this URL. So we're going to we're going to get the ID of the record that we want to post. Then from there, we're going to match the URL of that record to the URL that we have in Google Drive. And what we want is to download this file because, again, we need the binary file because we cannot post from a URL and we're mapping again the same thing, the final video URL from the Google Drive. So we found it, we found it here, and then we download it in here. Then what we're doing is we're going to post directly. We're going to use this tool. It's called Upload Post, and it's brilliant because otherwise it's actually, I have not found a way to post specifically to TikTok from n8n, and this tool is allowing me that. So it does have a free tier, so you can start with a free tier. However, it only allows you 10 uploads per month. And if you want to grow a channel, especially on TikTok, possibly on Instagram, you really need to be posting a lot more. So maybe you can try it for free, and then you can go to the basic or the professional. But if we start for free, you click just try for free, and it's going to ask me to sign with Google. So all you need to do is sign up literally with your Google profile. Once you've done that, so I'm going to click on it again. The first thing you need to do is to create users. And if you click on manage users, you will get, so I have already connected my TikTok account. So all you need to do is add, I'll just do it with Instagram because I haven't done it with Instagram. So I'm just going to grab my username for Instagram, and you can either do it like this, or you can do it with the @ It accepts both. So I can say add user. And then once it adds the user, so do you see that the first one is connected? This is my TikTok. The second one that I just did says not connected. So I'm going to click on Instagram. I actually post to everything. So you can post to YouTube as well, rather than using the YouTube node or something. But let's go to Instagram. I need to allow it. And now both of them are connected, which is very, very cool. The next thing you need to do is to go to documentation and look for upload video. And in here, you will see the endpoint. But if you go right to the very bottom, you can grab this scroll file and it will set up the whole thing for you. So if I click on it, and I'm going to set up a new, sorry, where am I? I've lost it. I'm going to just get an HTTP mode so you can see how it's set up. You click on import curl, copy this, click on import. It does take a moment, and it will actually import everything that you need, absolutely everything. So what we want to do is, you can do it in one or two ways. You can add your API key here, or you can do what we did with the other HTTP nodes and go with the generic credential type, the header auth, and then create new credential. And all you need to do is go to API keys and grab and create an API key. So this is how you're going to do it. And then just make sure that everything is correct. Everything is going through. One thing that I'm not using is hashtags, so I would generally remove that. If you have hashtags, you will have to add them. And then you'll have to pick your platform. In this case, I've got TikTok. If you're doing Instagram, you'll have to click on Instagram. And where is it? I'm going to delete it now. And that's it. It will post at those scheduled times. And then what we want to do is one last Airtable node that will just change the status to posted. And that's it. That's the whole system. As I said, I hope I've explained it well enough so you can move along, or you can grab it from Gumroad or come and join my AI Business Builders community.